Hi, so codependency, a massive, massive topic when working in trauma and PTSD, and following on from some really big topics that we've discussing recently. Codependency comes up time and time again. So what is codependency? Now, codependency is an ingrained behavior pattern which when an individual becomes overly reliant on another person, but for their own emotional needs, to fulfill their own emotional needs. And from this, they are able to then identify or define their identity and to provide their own feelings of self-worth. It's often referred to as relationship addiction, because people who struggle with codependency become excessively focused on the needs, the emotions, and the problems of others. So there is a sense of hyper-focus, and this often comes at the expense of your own well-being, and they then neglect their personal needs, their boundaries, and their aspirations. Now, for trauma survivors, codependency is really common, and it's particularly harmful. It's an outcome of our past experiences. So what's happened in our past is still leading to these poor behaviors in the now, even though it's years and years later. Now, when someone has gone through past trauma, or there's root cause trauma, and it doesn't matter whether it stems from neglect, from abuse, from having emotionally unsafe relationships, they often develop a really heightened fear of abandonment or rejection. And this fear drives them to overcompensate in their relationships and to prioritize others, even to their own detriment. So a trauma survivor may have learned early in life that their safety or their sense of worth is dependent on other people, and they take responsibility for other people's emotions, very often the people that they live with, so their closest relationships. But a result of this is that, they develop an unconscious belief that their value, their true value, is in the ability to serve or to support other people. And this dynamic is then further complicated by this emotional void left by their past trauma. So a person who's experienced neglect or emotional deprivation may not have their basic needs for love, for care, and validation met. So consequently, they seek to fill this void with intense dependency on relationships, and then they overextend themselves in an attempt to feel needed, to feel loved, to feel valued. But it creates this cycle of frustration and exhaustion, and then when these efforts go unreciprocated or they taken for granted, boy, do we tend to feel really bad. So the effects of codependency for a trauma survivor often extends into personal relationships, and this is the real essence. This is the real issue, is that it then seeps into the relationships we have at work, and we can often overcommit, struggle to delegate if we're a manager, or feel unworthy of these advancements. And unless we can prove to ourselves that we can constantly help others, it becomes quite a big problem. So codependency can lead to chronic stress, burnout, anxiety, and depression. And as you continually sacrifice your needs for other people, this pattern just reinforces feelings of inadequacy. And then you tend to, trauma survivors or people with codependency habits often perceive themselves as not enough. And unless they constantly devote themselves to someone else's well-being. So what does it do? Well, it not just challenges our behavior patterns, but it's generally becomes a reflection of our own unresolved pain and unmet needs. So this really does need to be addressed. So the root cause of this codependency is very often our past trauma. And when we're in this cycle of codependency, we really struggle to break that cycle or to take any steps that we need to become or where we need to be in a healthy relationship or get into a healthy relationship. So there are a few characteristics of codependency. Perhaps you see this in yourself or others. So first of all, a over involvement in other people's life. We may have real difficulty setting and enforcing boundaries, so we just can't say no. We have, or the person has really low self-esteem and constantly needs to be validated. And there's a real fear of feeling abandoned or feeling alone. And there's a strong compulsion to fix other people's problems because you just don't know how to fix yourself or fix your own. So what tools can we initiate to help us to become less codependent? First of all is understanding your own level of self-esteem. So what is it about your self-esteem that drives this need to be codependent? Second of all, learning to set boundaries by initiating more self-care. So perhaps it's about pulling away just 20 to 25% at a time, where you're not there 100% for the person all the time, but you're there 80% of the time, and then you try and pull back. And by prioritizing your self-care, by really understanding your needs and wants and what you need, will help you to develop healthy relationships moving forward. Now, that said, that's all really, really tricky and difficult, but it's the kind of stuff that we help you with in our trauma recovery method program. And in Future-edgetherapy, we're able to really, really work on and focus on how we help you with codependency. Do you know it's really closely linked to feelings of abandonment? If you want to know more, or you need to know more, or you want to talk to us, comment underneath the video now, or contact us, or book a consultation with us today, and I'll see if I can help you. So have a super, super amazing weekend or day, or wherever you are, whenever you watch this video, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.